All right, welcome back, everybody. This is me, OC Steve, and today I have something a little bit different on the program. I'm not going to wait till guest 29 to have him on. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it right the first time. I'm going to have one of the biggest and brightest stars in ROH right now, somebody who had a great title run in 2019 with the ROH TV title. No further ado, he's gone from being a pretty boy killer to a teddy bear terrorizer. Ladies and gentlemen, with no further introductions, himself, the head honcho of Shane Taylor Promotions. Shane, welcome. Thank you for participating in this interview, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. Hell of an introduction. I appreciate that. Obviously, you said being one of the first, if not the first wrestler on the show. That's how it should be. You know what I mean? Not just like you mentioned, not episode 29, not episode 35. I mean, right out the gate.
Yeah, and I got to say, in my own personal life, you've been a great friend and supporter and mentor, and likewise. So, being on the channel today and participating in an interview and being my first professional wrestling interview means a really lot to me, because I know 2020 has been crazy for everybody in their lives differently. Right. For me, like, I've had personal things aside with job situations, but seeing your own personal journey has been a motivation for me to always invest in myself.
Hey man, that means the world. You know what I mean? This is why I do the things that I do and say the things that I say, because that's what this platform is all about. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you want to make cash, you want to feed your family, you want to provide, but there's a responsibility as well when you get to this platform, to get to this stage, that you are here to try to inspire others, right? So to be able to do that with just one person would be great. So for you saying that means the world. And yeah, man, sometimes you just got to say, screw what everybody else thinks. I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of, and bet on that.
And you're literally that living model that if you work hard, that it's going to be hard to deny your own personal credit and acumen. You may not be the guy that they originally go to, but with your accolades and your in-ring performance and your tenacity, it's hard to deny that you are one of the cornerstones right now in Ring of Honor at the moment. Man,
and they are trying to deny it to the death, ain't they?
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, in 2019, everybody and their mom was talking about Matt Taven, but the go-to matches when I was watching Ring of Honor was your title run with the TV title for 7 solid months. I was guaranteed quality wrestling when I would tune in.
And that's the job of the TV champion. You know what I mean? Like, that's always been, that's been the workhorse championship. And I took a lot of pride in that. And I wanted to make every championship match, no matter who it was against, feel like the most important match in the show, because I wanted to go out there and prove that no matter who I was in the ring with, what skill level, how many years they'd been in, none of that mattered. When you stepped in the ring with Shane T, you were going to be elevated, the match was going to be great, and the people were going to get one hell of a fight. And I did that night in and night out. And to me, that run meant so much, because that sort of was validation, right, for everything that I've been saying, that I am the guy, that I am that home run hitter, that when you put me in the box and let me swing, I can produce. So doing that and going on that run just sort of solidified that mindset for me.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just must-see wrestling and I know that Ring of Honor right now, and everybody's had to retool. Everybody's had to have a plan B right now with the pandemic. And what they've done with the Pure Tournament is to make something exclusive to Ring of Honor to put eyes on that. Just like yourself, an original product. And what I think you've been doing right now is developing your foundation with Shane Taylor Promotions. I remember being at Sam's Town in 2019 when you kind of debuted that, and everybody was kind of, it was very new in their mind. Like, it was like a lot of people were kind of tripping on if it was promotion or production. And
right.
You were telling them, like, no, it was promotion, but then you went out and started proving it. And I think with 2020, you've kind of gone back and you've developed the foundation that it's more than just a stable. It's an idea that it's going to expand, that it actually is a company. Like, a lot of people get always kind of tripped on the notion where it's going to be like, oh, it's a stable, it's going to be this, and it's going to be short-lived. Right. Like, you actually have a mission statement for this.
Right. And Shane Taylor Promotions LLC is a company, like, and so being the CEO of that, you know, my job is to find like-minded individuals like myself and take the platform that I have and give people the ability to make their own way, especially in this sport. Now, what you'll have is you'll have certain places only have access to like action figures, or only have access to video games, or only have access to other things. And in order to get in on those lines of merchandising, you have to go to those companies. What I'm doing is working with different people to be able to bring that sort of stuff to everybody, no matter what level they're at, right? So then, kind of like with music, right? You can be an independent artist, own everything, and have a stream of income, have several streams of income, and make your own spot wherever you're at, as opposed to that guttural feeling that, oh, I need to get here because this is the only option, right? And especially when you're talking about performers of color who have less opportunity the higher you go up in these companies, that's even more important. So to be able to have the platform that I have, to be able to work with the kind of people that I do, and in the beginning stages of providing these opportunities, means everything to me. Because while Shane Taylor Promotions is here to entertain everybody and tell everybody one hell of a story, at the same time, we have a responsibility, especially to the youth that look like us, that come from the places that we come from, to show them there's a different way than most of the times what they're shown. So that's the goal.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, you know, you kind of, I've heard the other interviews too with Kevin Eck, and you were mentioning, like, you know, you do have a sports background. So it almost feels like on the other hat, besides running the promotion itself, you're kind of like being a GM, and you're finding this new talent with, you know, kind of scouting it out. Like the Soldiers of Savagery, those guys are amazing. Like,
they're great. They're absolutely great. And that's what I'm here to do, man, is try to open up the doors just a little bit more that were opened up for me, for the guys after me, right? And you're talking about two guys in Con and Moses who were at the ROH dojo, and nobody really knew what to do with them, but they were great talents. And so I was like, well, give them to me. Let me do it. Let me have them, you know what I mean? And look what happens. Not even a year later, and people are already in their mind saying, oh man, they're future tag champions for sure. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. You know, sometimes it
told you that.
Takes that other voice in the room going, hey, you know, the last thing we want to do is say that creative doesn't have something for you. Well, let me figure it out.
Right. But I mean, it's just, it's presentation, and it's a year's worth of confidence, a year's worth of learning, a year's worth of growing. And here we are. They're getting ready to step into the ring with the 12-time Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Briscoes. And I have every confidence that they're going to walk out of that match as the winners.
And then recently too, I mean, I've been following everybody on Twitter. I love Ron Hunt. That guy, he's got a skill. I mean, he get him in front of a camera, and dude, he's captivating, charismatic. Mm-hmm. He's a great, you know, technically, I guess he's the COO right now.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. The guy is invaluable, man. He can do it all. While I'm training and doing the stuff that I'm trying to do, he's handling the day-to-day, as well as the million other things he's got going. So to have him as my right-hand man and going forward, sharing that vision is incredible. Couldn't ask for a better guy.
And then recently too, the big bad kaiju himself, O'Shea Edwards, man.
Yes,
dude,
sir.
I saw that look. Like I'm new to him, but because of you guys, like I've been doing my research, doing a little deep, internet look on him, and he looks amazing. Like he's a guy that once we start, developing this, hopefully next year, getting a little bit bigger, opening some doors, getting some live shows. That's a guy that's getting ready to explode.
Oh, 100%. And I can see it. And there's a lot of, it's funny because I see a lot of myself in all my guys, right? They're people who are hungry, willing to do whatever it takes to succeed, willing to step over and step past whoever's in the way. You know what I mean? And so as a collective, then when you have that mindset, there's nobody standing in our way, nobody, you know? So he's already been doing great things, building his name up. Must follow on Twitter. The guy's hilarious. But then at the same time, just like you said, poised to be, you know, a real big breakout star. And so I personally feel like I got in on the ground floor of a great investment, and I'm ready to see it. Ready to see it go up.
It feels like this is like the Apple company right now. Like before, like it's in the garage, it's starting to develop, it's starting to get bigger. And once, you know, you guys can get in front of live shows again, it's just the sky's the limit.
And then once we do, everybody's going to be like, well, I believed from the start and I always knew. No, you didn't. Shut up. No, you didn't. Yeah,
there's always those people.
You did. Oh yeah, you did. But there's always going to be those people that are like, oh, well, you know, if I had your guys' backs the whole time. But no, you didn't. You were talking shit. And now that it's successful, now it's nah.
It's kind of like the flip side of things is also being like a token geek, you know, wearing the other hat is like when the Marvel comics started to blow up and nobody and their mom knew about Iron Man. And I'm sitting here like, I'm like, he's an okay character. But then like when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, because I was reading that comic book while I was dating my wife, and I sent my wife this text, and I found out that Chris Pratt was going to be Star-Lord. And I sent her like, you know, I'm a big Parks and Rec fan, so I know that his band on Parks and Rec is called Mouse Rat. And I was like, Mouse Rat is Star-Lord. And my wife's like, is that code or something? Like, what's going on here? Like, I don't understand. What the hell did you just say? And I was like, don't worry about it. So without a doubt, you know.
Blink twice if you're in danger. What?
Exactly. So, you know, it's just one of those things where it feels like you've developed the system where you're going to have O'Shea Edwards, you know, primed for that TV title thing. You have the Soldiers of Saturday primed for the tag team division, leaving you open finally to be at that opportunity to be in the ROH heavyweight title run.
Yeah, man, that's the plan. That's the goal. And obviously, you know, I've made no secret that I'm chasing legacy in ROH. And then the two men that I happen to be chasing are Kenny King and Jay Lethal. I feel like our careers are going to be compared anyway, and they're going to run parallel. And so both of them were two-time television champions. So at some point in my career, I do want to get my championship back. But as of now, the only one to have been able to win the world championship is Jay. And I want to change that in the worst way. Like I said, you could argue Matt Taven, you could argue the emergence of Jonathan Gresham, who we know has had that talent for years. But for the last 2.5 to 3 years, you would be hard pressed to find a better MVP than me over that stretch of time in or out of the ring. So I definitely think that it's going to be my time very, very soon here. And I want to go on a run that is the most memorable Ring of Honor championship run in the history of the company.
And even some of like through the evolution of your career, you've had great promos. And that's another thing that I appreciated in that long interview that you had with Kevin Eck was that you haven't just had one-dimensional characters. That as you've evolved through your ROH career, there's always been something a little bit extra there. There's always been the motivation that you might be a hitman, but this is a hitman for X, Y, and Z. So now finally with Shane Taylor Promotions, it's like, it's a business. And I really enjoy that whole development of Shane Taylor Promotions. Like you're mentioning, you want to go into merchandising, toys, you know, that whole other, you know, cash revenue options.
Oh yeah. And that's the goal, right? Is to not only set ourselves up, but set up future generations. That's how you stop cycles. That's how you end, you know, poverty. That's how you increase education, opportunity, things of that sort. Send your kids to better schools. It starts right here. you know, and for so many people, it's very hard to present characters, especially in today's world where things have to be so quick, present characters with depth that people are going to have to take their time to understand, right? And really think about, especially when you're talking about minority wrestlers, because then most people are comfortable with the stereotypes that they're given about what black wrestlers should be. And that's either the, you know, the wild man from Africa or the jungles, or you got the singing, dancing teddy bear, or he's the thug pimp, whatever, whatever stigma they have is what is marketable in wrestling. And now it does my heart to good to see so many athletes breaking that and going, no, we can just be athletes, or we can have characters with depth just like our counterparts and be able to present that on TV. Because for me, that's the long game, right? We could all do these stereotype characters, but nothing changes that way. But when you start to see different wrestlers with different depth and different characters and different ways of presenting it, then it's no longer an anomaly. Then it's no longer this special thing, which is good, because then it becomes normal. And then when it becomes normal, then everybody's on an equal playing field.
And that's really the message that I've, through conversations on social media, you know, with everything going on, I appreciate you kind of just being open to having that conversation. It's so easy on social media in this day and age that if somebody doesn't agree with you, just to turn a blind eye to what they have to say or what's going on, rather than engaging in a conversation and presenting from your own cultural experience, your own personal background experiences, what's going on, to shed some light on it so I can understand it a little bit better myself, you know, so I can see your perspective. Because I think once we start talking to one another and we want to come from a place of understanding and equal goodwill, that's where change can happen. Where if we decide to be abrasive and shut somebody off,
right?
And it's really easy to do, especially with Twitter, where it's only a couple characters and you just block and mute somebody and that's it. And that's
Right.
the end of the day. Like, I appreciate that sometimes, you know, you're willing to jump in the fray there and be an agent of change, like somebody that genuinely wants to see the world be a better place.
Man, I mean, that's all I'm trying to do. And for some people like yourself, they get it. Some people don't, and it scares them. Some people, you know, don't give a shit. You know what I mean? But you have to try to fight nonetheless. You know what I mean? This is going to be the world that I'm bringing my daughters into. So why would I not try my damnedest to make it better? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's going to be a long, hard fight, but that's why we're here. You know what I mean?
No, and I appreciate that, because there's some people, like you said, that are these one-dimensional characters, and they carry their character onto Twitter and they sell it as their character, and then they don't really care. They just want to get their check. And then there's other people that are genuine about wanting to be agents of change, wanting to see the world be better. So I really cannot say enough about that. And thank you for being that. You know, there's some people that just want to collect the check, do their part, do the shows, do the TV tapings, and then they're out, you know?
Right. I mean, and I get it. You know what I mean? Had my life experience been any different, maybe I'd be that guy. But coming from where I come from, built different. You know what I mean? Like I've seen it on both sides. I've had nothing, and now I'm at a point in my life where my family is taken care of, and it's I don't know how to be any other way but direct and straightforward and jump into the fire, because that's where the soldiers are. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're at. So
kind of with the home life right now, just kind of gonna switch the other hat and ask some kind of pop culture-y questions. You did mention in that interview, you and your wife were watching Cutthroat Kitchen. My wife on the flip side is watching the Great British Bake Off right now. And so like I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be all like, what's going on here? I know the British comedians from the shows, but I'm like, why are they talking about food? Like,
bro. So my wife watches that one too, right? And here's me. I don't know about you, but for me, I have to have context when I watch a show, right? So if I start watching a show like middle season, I don't know who these people are. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like how we got to this point. Like, I'm trying to ride the whole story. You know what I mean? So now I'm hooked because I'm trying to catch up. And I'm trying to put all the pieces.
Like, you just feel like you were dropped in the middle, like, on a plane, and you're on this island, and
so
you
now
don't know.
I'm into this damn show, trying to figure out so I can catch up and, like, you know, dialogue and be present for this show. And man, it is just, it's all over the place. The comedians have like this dry humor, and like some of the stuff like is hilarious, and then some of it's like like you know what I mean? But the food looks great, and the people are. That is the most chill cooking competition show I've ever seen. Like, nobody really looks stressed. Like, they do a little bit, but not like.
But it's like, so like, oh no, I hope my quiche looks good and it's flaky.
Right,
Like,
right. It's not. It's so low key stressful. Like, they're out in like this like
nice pop-up tent. Like,
right, this tent out this meadow. Like, it looks beautiful. It looks serene. They're probably just chilling. You know what I mean? But man, it is. I would much rather cook in that environment than like say like a Gordon Ramsay.
Like over your neck,
shoulder.
like,
right. What are you doing? It's garbage. Like, chill, Gordon. Relax,
like, I don't know. I know he has a restaurant in Vegas, and I know that
right.
they film there when everything's up and swinging. But I don't know if I would want to go into that environment, like being somebody sitting down at a table eating, watching him flip out in the kitchen behind
like
this.
That's got to be the attraction, though, right? Is him flipping out. Like, that's got to be what people pay to see. You know,
like,
what
you'd
I mean?
be mad if it was an off day where he's just like,
right.
like everything's going right, all the numbers
right.
are clicking.
Like, man, for as much as this cost, he didn't yell at nobody. He didn't, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what people want. Like, when they meet Gordon Ramsay, I feel like that's who they want to meet, is that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's a nice guy outside of it. You know what I mean? Just chilling. But when people want to see him, they want to see that.
And I would say the other thing that is kind of reminiscent with on your store at Pro Wrestling Tees is this undertone that I kind of picked up on. And I was like, dude, are you an anime fan? Like,
hey man, I'm just now getting my feet wet into it, right? Like I'm very basic, right? Like my boys Keith Lee, Jerome Griffey, like they are much more into anime than me. So when I started watching it, they were clowning me a bit because I was on their head heavy about it. Like, I was like, man, anime, punk, just talking shit. But I was like, you know what? As a culture, I feel like we box ourselves into a lot of things. So I was like, you know what? Let me start looking into these other areas of entertainment, these other things that are outside of what I normally do, and see if I can find ways to communicate with people and reach people from different walks of life. So I started watching anime. And there's some good stuff, man. I just finished Blood of Zeus, like we talked about. That was good. And then I watched Dragon's Dogma. That was good. I'm waiting for them to put the second season of One Punch Man on Netflix. I know there's other places that you can watch it, but I'm not about to download 17 apps to watch one season of an anime.
So I guess that leads into my next question. Are you a dub or a sub guy?
Dub or a sub?
Like the dubs, like the English dubs, or do you like to watch like when they voice it over with English actors, or are you watching the English translation, which is the subtitles?
I'd rather not do subtitles just because it distracts me from what I'm trying to look at. Like, if I'm reading this, then I missed like somebody walking in the background that could have been a huge moment. You know what I mean? So I would rather just them do the voiceover and me deal with that than miss anything on screen. So that would be my preference. But man, it's I don't really think that there's that big a difference though. I heard it's a very fierce debate between dub and sub that people are really die hard for, and I'm like, I don't care that much.
Like, I just, as long as I get my entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, fam. You know what I mean? Like, some people be crazy with it. I'm like, it's okay.
No, there's the subtitle traditionalists, so that's why I asked that question lightly. I would say another kind of pop culture question I would ask is Marvel or DC? Where do you sit on that argument?
Ooh. I feel like I would have to go with Marvel only because their track record's been the best over time. You know what I mean? Like, because Marvel is, and again, I'm just getting into it, so people don't kill me in the comments. How do you not know? Marvel is like the Avengers and like, is that X-Men too?
Yes.
Okay, well then yeah. So like all the X-Men movies, the Wolverine stuff is great. Deadpool is great. All their stuff pretty much hits very consistently. DC had a great comeback with Wonder Woman. That was good. I haven't really seen a whole lot of them, to be honest, but yeah, I would have to go with Marvel, man, just off of the strength of their consistency.
And then kind of in that same vein, if you had an opportunity, which Marvel character or movie would you like to be involved in?
Ooh, that's great. I feel like any of the Deadpool ones would be funny to be in. Like just the back and forth banter that you could have with what I just had the guy's name in my head. Ryan
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. There it is. I feel like the back and forth banter that you could have with him would be great, and you know what I mean.
Just to watch you break, like when you have that Shane mode going on, and he just says something
great.
Just to watch you fall apart and crack. That would be, that's kind of like that Saturday Night Live when somebody just breaks character and corpses out. You're just like watching them die in the corner, like
man,
just from laughter.
It'd be wild.
And then the other question I was going to hit home too is you were giving Chase Owens a hard time. He seems like he is the one man that is an island when it comes to being an Xbox guy. Like he's holding it down in the wrestling community, like waving that Xbox flag all the time.
Heavy.
But the only thing he plays is PUBG.
Listen, and Nicole Savoy does the same thing. They go hard for Xbox. And I'll be like, listen, man, I hear all that stuff that you're talking way over there. But they don't really want to come to the PS4 side and come get this work. But it's all right. He can keep getting dubs on PUBG on Xbox. When he wants to come over to PlayStation and fight the real killers, he knows where to find us at.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask too. So, are you sitting tight with the PS5? Because I know that there's a lot of stuff going on right now where people are like reluctant to get a PS5 or an Xbox Series X because it's kind of like that first initial run out the gate where all the products like all the problems happen.
Hey, I let everybody else go first. If people remembered when the 4s came out, 4s were like randomly catching on fire. And I was like,
you could roast a hot dog over them. Like,
right. I'm like, fam, I will wait 3 months, let y'all work those bugs out, and then I'll get mine. I'm in no rush. I got plenty of games to play.
I mean, if you look at some of the failure videos right now, they had an Xbox Series X where you're literally seeing smoke come out of the damn thing. Like,
no. That's what I was trying to tell people about. But listen, to each their own. They can go get and do whatever they want with their money. That's all theirs. No worries. But for my money, if I'm going to pay that kind of cash, it had better work correctly. It had better work the way it's supposed to. I don't want to get it, be all excited, trade stuff in, and then smoke come out, it catch on fire, then have to go 6 weeks
without
to get another
anything.
one. Right. I'm like, no.
And especially having two girls at home, I mean, like you're kind of using it now for everything. It's kind of like that literal buffalo right in front of your TV because you're using it for the entertainment apps and all that.
Netflix, you got everything here. You got the games. You got it all, right? And granted, we have the Roku too, but like at the same time, it's like, why not wait until it's for sure ready to go, and then buy it? But hey, if it works for you and you got it early, hey, good on you. But I'm gonna wait.
And then I was gonna also hit too. Another thing that you were bringing up was obviously your love for your local sports teams growing up. I mean, it's reminiscent in your moveset, the welcome to Cleveland, the whole the Cleveland Destroyer. Where do you sit when it comes to hockey? That's another hat that I wear. I'm a big hockey nerd.
I was a fan of the Cleveland Lumberjacks when we had them. For those that don't know, yes, Cleveland did have a hockey team. But since they left, I just don't really follow it. Like, I think the closest team is the Penguins, but there's no way I'm cheering for Pittsburgh anything, so it just ain't going to happen. So I think I was cheering for the Capitals because like that was the Penguins' like biggest rival.
Yeah,
because it was like Crosby and Ovechkin. So I was like, screw it. Then I'm an Ovechkin fan. You know what I mean?
And Ovechkin is such a class act. Like in the All-Star games, he was hoping to get picked last. He had this sign like a couple of years back. He was holding up saying, "Pick me last," because whoever got picked last when they were doing like dodgeball style for the All-Star games, they got like a default prize. They got like this brand spanking, totally tricked out Honda minivan that he was going to donate to charity. So he was trying to get picked last during that whole entire thing.
Damn. Did they pick him last?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right. I was here to say, imagine being like the jerk who was like, nah, bro, I'm picking up.
No, I'm going to pick you second to last just to spite you.
That'd be hilarious. Like if Crosby was the captain and was like, yeah, I'll take Ovechkin. You're like, bro.
Like these guys have been chasing each other during that point in their careers and have been rivals. So it's just crazy that I just
that so petty, but I would do it. You know what I mean? Just to be like, gotcha.
And that's some of the rivalries. Like I grew up here locally in Southern California, and I live predominantly in Anaheim Ducks territory. But I grew up before the Anaheim Ducks existed, so I'm like a third generation Kings fan. So like my grandfather went to games before the Forum was even a thing.
Right.
Like my family were Lakers fans when they came from Minnesota, because most of my family's from Minnesota.
There you go.
Like a lot of the people, like you ask somebody in LA, you go, okay, so what is a Laker?
Right.
And they're like, well, they're from LA. So, they're like LAkers. Like, no. It's like asking a Clippers fan, what's a Clipper?
Right. They're like, oh, it's going to be that for your hairs, right? For your hair.
And then they see somebody wearing the vintage jersey with the sail ship on it from San Diego, and they're like, oh, okay. So I get that kind of like local, like you can't support them in good mind and good conscience. Because when I was dating my wife, like that was like one of the go-to girl questions was when she walked in my grandparents' household, my dad goes, so which hockey team are you for?
Right.
Kings? Okay, we're good. We're good. Everybody, DEFCON 5's turned down.
Passed the first test.
Yeah,
but
first
you got
test.
More questions to come.
And then my older brother asked the DC Marvel question. She's like, like I like Marvel, but I like Batman. And we're like, okay, Batman's an acceptable answer on the DC side of things.
Fair play. All right, fair play.
So I totally get that. That's why I was just kind of asking some general geek pop culture questions, because I think
with the Laker thing, right? Is that because Minnesota's like the land of 1,000 lakes, right?
Correct.
So that's where they would get. Gotcha.
So they didn't even have the purple and gold. They actually came like the ones that they usually wear sometimes on Sunday, which are kind of that baby blue and white, were their original colors.
Okay.
And it wasn't until Jack King Cook bought them and made them go purple and gold. And then when the Kings came, he made them purple and gold too, for that kind of like that synergy a little bit.
Right.
So I always
great times for LA too. The Dodgers and the Lakers killing it. Champions.
So sitting here as a hockey fan, everybody's looking at us like Kings, and I'm like, no, not gonna happen right now. It doesn't work that way.
Didn't you guys just win one recently though? Like in the last 5 years?
We won 2012 and 2014.
All right, 6 years.
So it was between us and Chicago. It was almost like every other year. The West Coast was holding it down, and we went to a Game 7 in 2013. So we were in the run for at least a good solid 4 or 5 years.
There you go. I mean, but you could be like, hey, we started the championship stuff a few years ago. Now the Lakers and Dodgers are just catching up to us.
Well, man, being a Dodgers fan, like it's one thing, but like that second cup run for the Kings, all those games were Game 7s.
Can't get no more exciting than that, though, boy.
No, it was like literally like I was going to work the next day, and everybody's like, "You all right? You okay?"
Right.
Like white knuckling it the entire night.
Hell
flipping the hat out.
Right.
So I mean, the only regret is that my grandfather wasn't around to see it. He was around in '93 when the Kings did go there with Wayne Gretzky. Mm-hmm. And I remember him he being a salt of the earth kind of Catholic dude, and just hating life for that year that the Kings didn't win it. You know, It was bittersweet, but when we finally got there, you know, that's why it was kind of hard with a team like Vegas just popping up, and you're like, oh crap, are they going to win the cup in 1 year?
Oh yeah, man, that's tough. I mean, but if they got the squad, they got the squad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and I mean,
and
it goes back to like at the beginning of what we were talking about here. This is the time where I think a lot of people in 2020 need to develop that foundation forever what they want to do moving forward, whether it's personally, in their career, or life goals. Like, you know, like you've kind of helped me instill that, and a lot of other wrestlers that have been positive agents, where it's like, you know, I don't expect likes on Twitter. I don't expect things like that, but you take that time out of your day to support people that support you, you know?
Man, one of the quotes that I live by was told to me by Ray Rowe, and it is loyal to those loyal to me. That's as easy a mantra and as easy an understandable topic that anybody can get with. You know what I mean? You show love to those, you're loyal to those who are in your corner, and those that aren't, man, sorry about your luck. We're getting this stuff done anyway.
You're missing out. You know, that's what I think. I think a lot of the absence of when, you know, All Elite came, they went and did the thing that they did, but it created these opportunities for people to either sit there or step up, and you were one of the few people that decided to step up.
I mean, you have to. Nothing spurs that like competition. And for me personally, I'm not a JV guy. I'm a starter, man. I don't like riding the bench for nobody. You know what I mean? Especially when I know I can outperform the starters, and I've been proving it. So put me in the game and let me play.
And that was kind of like, you know, in closing too, like what Kevin Eck was saying, you know, if you guys get the opportunities once everything reopens to go to Japan, I would love to see you and Cobb go back at it again.
Man, listen, I would love that. Shouts out to him and Will Ospreay and Great O'Khan and B. Priestley. I think he's the newest member of the Empire there.
As of today, yeah.
As of today, so congratulations to him. I was waiting to see like what he would do and where he would go, where he'd fit. This is a perfect thing for him. I'm very excited to see what they're doing there. And who knows, maybe I'll get that chance, maybe not. But my goal is to go to Japan. If not at New Japan, I will gladly go elsewhere, and just continue to check those goals off the list.
I mean, I would love, you know, being a SoCal kid here and watching some of the shows here, just putting it out there. Battle of Los Angeles, 2021, 2022 entrant, Shane Taylor of Shane Taylor Promotions would be an amazing couple nights of wrestling. The crowds are crazy. You know, it's no Sam's Town crowd in perspective. These are a little more lively. The venue's crazy. It's 3 solid nights of competition with some of those best people in the world. A lot of them are already in Ring of Honor, but I'm just hoping that you get those opportunities yourself.
I would absolutely love it. I've never done PWG. It's always been a goal to cross that out as well. So, and I think the current PWG champion right now is Bandito.
Yeah.
Who I beat, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So when championship gold is on the line, Shane Taylor 1, Bandito 0. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Makes perfect sense to me, but you know.
Just a little bit of different experience for the SoCal fans to see something a little different out of the norm, especially Bandito get put in his place.
I mean, I would absolutely love to do it. Plus, my man Keith Lee won the PWG World Championship, so he's got that over me. I would love to correct that and sort of get that back too. You know what I mean? So he can't have bragging rights. But I would love to do it, man. Bowl is a huge event with so many great talents. I would love to do that.
And then, you know, that it's just those next stoves, because I know you had a minute in Rev Pro and you did that there. So I just would love to see the band, the whole Shane Taylor Promotions brand itself expand into some of these other territories and just have name recognition through the sheer fact that you can deliver in the ring.
And that's the goal. That's the goal, is to take my guys and go everywhere around the world, to be able to take my platform and not only have my success, but bring others up with me. That's the plan. That's the goal. That's what it's all about, is to be able to show them how to eat at my table, show them what they need to do, and then let them go off on their own and create their own tables. You know what I mean? And then let other people eat off of them, and so on and so forth. And that's how we all win, man. That's what this whole thing is about.
And I'm just glad to be one of these, fans, friends that get to witness your rise of success. And 2019 was a stellar year for you, but moving forward, I think that there's only things that are going to be greater. Like I look at it as one step. I don't look at it as it's going to be here.
Right.
It's a slope that's moving forward, onward and higher. As the geek term, the great Stan Lee used to say, is Excelsior, onward and upward. So I honestly wish you that. Like if that
I
could
never knew what that meant until right then. So thank you. But yeah, man, it's looking real good. And honestly, that's all credit due to my team, bro, because they are working harder than ever and pushing further, and they inspire me to work harder. And so when you have that synergy and you have that like-mindedness and that camaraderie, man, it's only going to be great stuff.
Yeah, it just expands like wildfire. So once
Mm-hmm.
again, Shane, thank you more than enough for this opportunity. It's great to have this milestone, knowing that you were the first wrestler.
Yes, sir.
And now this is the mark. And so moving
Absolutely.
forward, they got to be stellar. They got to be charismatic. They got to know their anime. They got to know their pop culture.
You gotta check all the boxes. Check all the boxes.
And so, even number 29, let's throw that out the window. Let's erase that. So I appreciate your friendship, man. I appreciate your support. Where can people find you? Like all your social media.
All right. Facebook.com/Notorious Shane Taylor. Twitter and Instagram @Shane216Taylor. I know times are tough, but if you're in the merch buying mood, ROHWrestling.com. Check out the Pro Shop. Plenty of great Shane Taylor merchandise there. Special shouts out to Con and Moses, Soldiers of Savagery. Their first shirt is up on the Pro Shop right now. Go check that out. And, of course, ProWrestlingTees.com/Shane Taylor, all lowercase. Plenty of great merch there. Thank you guys so much. It's been an incredible 13 years so far, which is crazy to think about. And, here's the 20 more.
Awesome. Yet again, thank you for your time, Shane. Thanks for everybody watching the video. Hope you guys had a great time, and we will talk soon again. Thank you much.